A woman in abundance is always going to celebrate you. A woman in abundance is always going to be your biggest cheerleader. A woman in abundance is always going to look at like how she can help benefit your life.
What was the first moment when you went from scared to spend money to...
Why did I make these choices in my life? I was so successful, but yet I was not happy. I realized was that if I didn't start working on myself and the deeper beliefs and the deeper emotions that I had, then I wasn't gonna be able to cultivate real relationships with people, but also relationship with money.
Hello, welcome to the Elena Cardone Show. Always bringing it to you. I never fail to deliver. Today I have with me Shamina Taylor, who is quite certain that this will be the best interview you've ever heard. And I love your confidence. How did you get such confidence? And because I know you always did not have that. I mean, you didn't always have that. How do you have that now?
I started becoming real with who I was. I mean, if you want to get real serious about it, I took the mask off and I had to start being super authentic of who I was.
Yep.
And love myself, good, bad, or ugly. And just know that if I keep my word to myself, everything's always going to be okay. And this is literally how I build my confidence up.
Yeah.
And I go do the thing that I said I was going to go do. So then
Did you used to not do the thing you said you were going to do?
I feel like, yeah, there was a point in time, maybe when I was younger, maybe little bits, not really, actually. I think
You've always done what you said you were going to do?
Most of the time, yeah. But I think I didn't do it with the right direction.
What's the right direction?
Tapping into listening to yourself to find out what's next instead of doing it for what other people want me to do. I'm just doing things now for me. So I feel like that's like soul connection.
Yeah.
Like you're, you know, what's next? Like listen in. Even when you wake up in the morning, like what's next? Listen in, you know? And so I trust that now.
So you have a really big woman audience, a big female audience. How do you, and they're, I mean, they listen to you, you've helped build them up. Where did that come from and how do you attract that type of woman?
All right, this is a great question because I feel like this is like going to be a teachable moment for everybody listening. The thing that I really believe that makes you a great leader or for people to listen in or want to listen to what you have to say is that you have to have full conviction in what you're teaching and what you're talking about, who you're being. I feel like if you're the full embodiment of what you're doing, you're the walking, you know, billboard of what you say you are, then the bullshit factor is like there you're like, okay, well, I believe her. Right. So, and then when I believe what I can do, like I know my work, like my ABCs, then of course it's going to come through. But if you don't have that, you're going to have that wishy-washy energy.
So you have a really high belief lid.
I do.
A lot of women don't. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
How do you help them increase their belief lid?
I sometimes hold it for them until they can start building it up. But one of the things I feel like
you're like being their biggest cheerleader.
Right, yeah, because sometimes you need that in a mentorship or whoever, or even in a group of females, because a lot of these women I work with, they don't have a support system outside of, you know, home or in their business. It's like they're, you know, on their own. But one of the things that I feel like it's like when you're not believing it's because you're not tapping into like a higher knowing of, and I believe it's like that feminine energy, that guidance, that vision, and you're disconnected from your creativity because you're living so much in that masculine and that, you know, what do I need to do as opposed to what I would love to do. I think that takes away your ability to tap into that special gift, you know?
Yeah. You, how do you pick who's going to be in your inner circle? Do you have a lot of friends?
Yeah, well, yes. So this is going to probably, I don't have a lot of friends, no, but I have a system.
Okay.
I used to have a lot of friends. This is before I started really valuing my space and time as it's frequency. It's a currency. You know, my time is more wealthier to me than cash right now. And so who I spend it with and what I do is utmost importance everywhere. And so, but I wasn't always like that. So for example, I rekindled a relationship with a friend I hadn't talked to in years. She come back in my life and she was one of my really close friends. And, you know, we parted ways. After a few weeks or maybe it was a month, I was like, I can't do this anymore. We were such on different mindsets. She was complaining about money. She was complaining about certain things. And what I found, and this is not to say that, you know, I'm not friends with somebody who's not wealthy, but if somebody doesn't have a command of their finances or what they're doing in their life at this stage of the game, I can't mix that energy with me, because that means I'm going to be meeting them where they are with their
You
powerless.
can coach them, but you don't.
I tried to. Every time I did, she'd make money, but it was like, so I'm like, how much are you not going to go do yourself? So I want to be around women who are like motivating me. Like I see her doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do it too. I want to be around people who are activating me, that are like doing the same thing. They're living, they have the same values as me, because that to me will always up level me in a group. And women want to be up leveled instead of, oh, it's okay that it didn't work out, or it's like, no, get up, let's go. And those are the kind of friends, and it's hard to find that in like the lay world out there sometimes. But when I do find them, I hang on tight to those women, because they're the ones that call you and check on you, and they're the ones that also celebrate you or promote you, and they can hold space for your expansion, because they're not in competition with you. It's the collaboration. It's not like having this, you're beating me. It's more like, how can I help you in this process?
Have you always been that way? No. Were you not supportive of women at one time?
No, I would say that I had a big mother wound and sister wound, and I would think that women weren't always going to, I had a lot of girlfriends and I had best friends, but at some point someone would always be threatened by my ability to speak up or my ability to move. And I always took it personal, in that sense. Because
they wanted to hold you back, or wanted you to stay the same.
Exactly.
Or who do you think you are?
Basically.
Now you're better than us.
Basically. Mm-hmm. And so when I realized that was happening, I'm like, who can I trust? And who can I bring in my spot? Because I realized every single person that you interact with in your life is attributing something to your growth or your energy.
Million.
And so I started seeing like there's a specific type of woman I need to be with. One who, first of all, has to be in abundance. If she has any scarcity or any victim mindset, she's got to go. It just cannot work, because a woman in abundance is always going to celebrate you. A woman in abundance is always going to be your biggest cheerleader. A woman in abundance is always going to look at like how she can help benefit your life too. And you for her. It's like a give and take, not like, what can you give me? So That's number one. If she's not in abundance, it's just not going to work out.
Wow. And you've worked your way up
Oh yeah, because I wasn't like that, because like I said, I had that mother wound. And
what was can you talk about the mother? Like, what was that? What do you mean?
Like the sister wound, it was one of those things where I never felt safe with people in life. I just never had that
because
safety.
Y'all weren't close?
Well, just people would leave, like the abandonment, like the people would leave. So how do I let my guard down and be vulnerable to let someone in if I know they might hurt me? So I was always protecting myself from everybody.
So when did you come up with this big epiphany of I'm going to let people in, or I'm going to trust people? Or...
Oh, like not too long ago.
Well, so what was the moment?
I realized that, and this is like my theory, I realized that there's part of me blocking the trauma that I grew up with that was affecting the next evolution of this woman I was going to become in this world. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to get in touch with the truth of who I was. And that meant working through these things in my past that I had not. And I never touched anything. I was like the ice queen. I'd just shove it down, didn't deal with it. I thought it was gone, but my subconscious was obviously doing something else, instead of me working on it. And there's only so much you can mind yourself out of things. So anyway, one of the things that I realized was that if I didn't start working on myself and the deeper beliefs and the deeper emotions that I had, then I was going to be able to cultivate real relationships with people, but also relationship with money. And so I started to see a correlation with that. And I'm like, if I want more, there's something that I have to work on within myself to receive more. Mm-hmm. And the feminine is that receivership. So if I was always protecting my wound in my wounded masculine state, I was actually deferring money from my life. And when I realized, like, when I did the opposite, it's like more wealth started coming in. Plus action, obviously. You're not just sitting there going like this.
Right.
But
do you spend money more freely than you did back then?
Oh my gosh, it's like water, because I always know it comes back.
So what do you spend money on?
Well, I invest. I never spend. Everything's an investment. So everything I want to have in my life is a choice that I want to make with my money, because I have power over money now, where money stuff power over me.
That's right. Money is energy.
It is. It's just energy.
When you understand money is energy, flows open.
It's right.
You unstick the flow.
Exactly.
So you unstuck the flow. So what do you invest in?
So I invest in myself.
Yep,
I invest
me too.
I invest in mentorship. I invest in books. I invest in experiences. I invest in bringing my children to Miami to have Thanksgiving. You know, we go to the Turks and Caicos at Christmas time. Like, we go 5-star. We fly first class because I don't have a jet yet. And so yet.
Optimum word.
And you know, I want to live like this life that I created. I can't even imagine that this was something that I did in such a short period of time. And I'm like, what else can I do? And so this is where I invest my money on, the dream and the vision of like, how big can I go just because I want to see, because it's there. So experiences, food, you know.
What was the first moment when you went from scared to spend money to I'm going to test the water on this philosophy that money is energy and it flows? What was do you remember what the first thing was where you went, I've never done something like this before?
Well, I had a big one recently, but I think in the beginning, it was probably born by my Cartier, maybe. Oh. Like, probably was a thing, right?
Okay.
So maybe that's a little bigger than, but it was a big move. Maybe it was investing in somebody. Maybe, no, let's look back about. It was investing in a coach. And at the time, that was a huge thing for me, to be honest with you, because it was a big deal for me, because I thought I might have been losing my house at the time. So I was going through this because I was post-divorce, starting all over again. And I would not ask anybody for a dime. I wanted to do everything myself. And so I had this fear that was going on. So I started making some money online. This woman came into my world, and she wasn't that much at the time. Looking back, it was like $3,000 a month for 90 minutes. But I'm telling you that investment scared me so much that I started having like hypervigilance around it. And then after I made the investment, even like nothing changed, but I felt so much better. I'm like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Why didn't I invest in myself a long time ago? Why did I let the fear of money do this to me? 2 months later, I had like a $300,000 a month, and it was instant.
Was there something she said in that?
No, she didn't even say that. It was me.
Your flow.
It was me, because I was holding myself back by not filling the desires or the things that I wanted to do with money. And once I started feeding that, it started changing, because the resistance kind of moved away, you know?
Right.
And so I do that all the time now with everything. If I want something and I know it's a really big stretch, I still buy it because I know the money will come back. I bought my G-Wagon cash.
Is that the one that you just did recently?
Yeah, I did. It was it was a big deal. I mean, it was like $295,000, which is a lot of money. I know, and Grant probably wouldn't agree with what I did with it there.
Well,
but I know, but still, I felt like I wanted to do that, and I had the money, and so I did. And so it was one of those things. Every time I drive it, I'm like, I created this from nothing. And it's like the best feeling in the whole world. After that, money flows. Anything I know that I desire, I always feel the desire, because the desire is the frequency I get to have. And then the money just flows. Like, if you just sit there and want money, it doesn't work. But if you're like, what do I want the money to go for? Like, I'm going to go shopping. Like, I do this this virtual shopping in my head. I'm like, the money's going to go here. I'm going to do this with it. I mean, this is how much a jet's going to cost. And I just start putting it in places of where it's going to go. And guess what? It starts coming.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I start doing the math.
Yes.
I do the math. Okay, if I want this, reverse engineer, what's it going to take for that? And da-da-da. Okay, now what does that take?
Right.
And then it opens up my mind to all these possibilities of, what that takes and how many people I would have to help, because we're both in the help space. And,
Yeah, that's a great way of saying it too. Like, how many people would I have to help? I think you've said this philosophy to me before. And I mean, I just know it's always the impact. So that's the help, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So out of that, on the lines of money, what is the biggest advice you would say to a woman when it comes to the money? How do they take that first step to either understanding it or letting go, trusting?
This is my teachings, and I've never heard it anywhere else, but I believe money is masculine, and I feel like the way we receive it's feminine. And the reason why I think money's masculine is because we use it, many of us use it for safety, for protection, for shelter. It's like, you can't live if you don't have it. So you look at it as being a provider for you. But a lot of the times we actually equate it with another masculine energy in our life growing up. And sometimes if you haven't had a steady masculine, either through the mother or the father or relationship, your belief in the safety of money always being there goes away until some masculine energy can come in, or you've reprogrammed yourself to feel safe with money. That's what I did. I had to reprogram myself with the masculine. money and men are very similar. So they are. I mean, they really are. If you think about the masculine, I mean, you know how to attract it. I mean, it's just right there. And so it's like, that's how I look at it. And so if women who are, most of my women that I work with are high achievers like me as a former attorney.
Drivers, yeah.
So drivers, like they're not good enough feeling is always driving their success. And so they're going to keep going because, and that's, I mean, it's great that it's there and because thank goodness for that. But at the same time, you can't chase the money like you can't chase the men. So one of the greatest things that I think you figured out really a great way, Elena, is like how to lean back in that vision and that feminine and really be in that state of knowing, because the feminine is knowing, trusting, believing, having that faith that it's always going to work out no matter what.
Yes.
And there's no plan B because it's just going to work. That's it. I don't have a plan B. We don't. And you got to have all 2 feet in, not 1 foot in, 1 foot in. You just got to go all the way in and start trusting. And this is the frequency of.
And doing too.
Of course you got to do.
Yeah, because I
but the
want to hear
action
about,
that you're doing it.
Yes.
In that energy, then you go do in that energy.
Yeah. I want to hear about the actions you take because I think a lot of women, I could be generalizing right now, but I think a lot of women have this misconception of let me just visualize.
Right.
See?
Yeah, no.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the people that actually are receiving know that there's the doing.
Oh, the doing is so important. But the point I want to make is like you have to be in that super feminine state when you're doing the doing, if that makes sense. Like even though you're taking
explain that.
So the beingness of who you are, most of your decision making will come from your feminine state, as opposed to like the analytical. You'll get a creative hit, or you'll have something like, I'm going to go move now. So for example, I had an idea to do an in-person event. I think it was end of September. My team, I said
Like
team,
this, just
recently.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I said to my team, I think it was the end of the month, or it could have been even the first week of October. I said, team, go figure it out. The book's coming out. Let's figure out what we're going to do. My team member found a spot like the next day. I went and looked at it. I paid for it, booked it. And 6 weeks later, we had the event. And so I had the idea. That's the creative thought from the feminine. And I took action in it. And then there's the result. And it ended up being sold out, 80-person place, and 70 women got on a plane to come see me. And it was like amazing. And it was just.
How many people are on your team?
2 that did it with me.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And
well, for that, I mean, there's like the video guys and all those guys. If you want to add those, and that's a lot of other people.
Were they there?
Yeah.
How many people total were at the event?
100.
No.
Oh.
I mean on your team.
Oh, probably 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They work for you full time?
4 of them do.
Wow.
Yeah. But I delegate because if I get an idea and I get a crazy idea like that, they know, I'm like, we just got to go with it. They already know. I'm like, because they're more organized than me, but I get the idea and I'm like, we have to act and move. So when we move, like I said earlier, money loves that frequency of the fastness, like jet fuel. And the more you take action in that energy, the more wealth will come find you. And so that's, to me, if I get an idea, I don't sit on it. I don't think about it.
You'll talk yourself out.
Yeah. Or I just don't even give myself opportunity for it. I'm just like, well, let's do it.
Right.
That's it. And so, yeah, I do take action like that.
And so then they get on the phones and hit people up, or how do you let everybody know that you're doing this event? Do you do funnels?
Social media. We use our email list. We got a pretty big list. I go do lives. I mean, I take the action. So I'm out there.
How often do you go live?
I will go live however I need to, in my group, maybe a couple times a week. Mm-hmm. If I know the event's coming up, I will do it like once or twice, maybe, and just letting people know, telling them in my stories, drawing them in. We have other people who are affiliates that let people know about our event. Mm-hmm. We didn't run ads to this one, but we sold it out. And collaboration. That was the number one way is how I did this, was collaboration. Sorry. That was the number one.
So what does that look like?
My clients came to me and said, hey, we'd love to put you in front of our audience. They really need this. I can help sell out some of your VIP. And she did. She just had a $400,000 month with me last month. And she had a baby too in the same month.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I know, she's just a boss. She's just like, push the baby out. I'm like, okay, check. And then the money. And so, cause she's not quitting. And so then she's put an offer out like a couple days later. But, yeah, so we went in front of her audience and a lot of her people, and then someone else told someone else and had me go in front of their audience. And so these are women who live in abundance. They weren't afraid to put me in front of their audience to see who's going to take from you. It's like everybody needs somebody, and if maybe they need both of us, and if you live in a limited spot and scarcity, you're not going to do collaboration. And collaboration is the key, I totally believe, of this next level success of women. I guess, agreement.
Yes, because I say the collaboration is the new currency.
It really is.
And it's strength in numbers. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've made, certainly Grant and I have made, is not collaborating sooner.
Yeah.
And especially as a woman, for me, even in collaboration with my own husband in the beginning, I was married to him for 4 years where I was still operating as like myself.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't really figured out how to do us because I was scared. And I thought I would lose myself. And I had this idea that I had to do everything myself or somehow it wasn't legitimized. I didn't understand the power of collaboration. And so I know it sounds ridiculous because we were already married, but it wasn't until year 4 into the marriage that I first started to really understand the concept of collaboration.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a marriage with the guy, you know, and this was a good guy. I mean, he's a difficult and a hard guy, but he's a good guy and he's always delivered. Like, do you think I could trust that one?
Right. Exactly.
You know, go all in. And
Yeah.
so then it's interesting because I learned the power of collaboration with him, but then I didn't learn the power of collaboration with others because I had that scarcity mindset. And now, you know, in the last, I guess, 5 years or so, we've made tremendous collaborations and just boom, the empire expanded just like wildfire.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's when my podcast blew up now. It's like women are starting book clubs over my book and like they're telling their audiences. It's just it's the craziest thing. And whoever I can bring in front of my audience, I will. You know, it's just it's if they can benefit and help, of course they, you know, why wouldn't I, you know?
So do you run into certain cases because a lot of people don't like to collaborate because you collaborate, you invite them in, and then they're doing something similar, and then they kind of feel like they take half of your audience. Does that ever come up, or do you care about that?
I feel like if someone came in, no one's teaching anything like exactly like me, so
Yeah.
I don't even worry like about my
That's
stuff.
how I feel.
So I feel like even if someone's teaching about wealth, it's going to be their way. So maybe someone's going to get 2 avenues on how to get to this end result. So why not try it? I mean, they might resonate with them or resonate with me. I don't know. But I mean, the end result is getting the client to the end. So however it takes, like go there, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel.
Easy because we don't have that scarcity
No,
mindset.
I don't care. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I care, but I don't like have this
Right.
personal thing where it's like, oh, you didn't choose me. Because I don't have that little mindset anymore. That's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like, you know, I've got clients who have more than one mentor and I'm like, all right, this is great. That's amazing. You know, I think whoever you need to, one might be teaching about something specific, like different than me, like, you know, getting on media or something. And I don't do that. So
Right.
why would I even try to play in that or a dating one? I mean, Lord knows I'm not going to do that one, you know, right now at least.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's good that you know that and you don't
Yeah.
try. That makes you so real. And talking about the belief lid on how.
Like, where
people
can
are-
your conviction come from? There's no way I'm going to be like, hey, let me show you how to, you know, have a relationship. You know, like that's not yet. That's not something I can really. I would be fraud. Of course, and then I have this, you know, feeling of self-sabotage. That's where that sabotage stuff comes in. If people don't believe in themselves or believe in their gifts or believe in the results they can get, like as long as my clients have a result, then that will always fuel what I do. Then I'll know
That's how I feel.
this is it. Yeah, I mean,
Like I get energized from successes.
and-
It makes it all worth it, doesn't it?
yeah, and I really am very particular about who comes into my space too. So when people come work with me, I don't just take anybody. I say no to quite a few because I feel like what I teach and what I do is honey for like the medicine for the right woman. And so if there's a woman that's coming in that's in scarcity, it's going to be really hard for me to get her to the next level. So she's got to maybe go do some more work before she comes back. And then someone who's already in abundance, I can like literally take them to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, or willing to do, has an open mindset, willing to take action. Like there's certain type of woman that's like, just show me what to do. And she goes, does it because I am her. So my clients are like that. And I already know who they are when they come to my space.
Me too.
So I'm like, all right, she's going to get this done. Let me show her what to do. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's like,
Oh my God, I love that. It makes it so easy.
it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And it's good that you know your limitations like
Yeah.
that. And probably because we have those hard driver in us, we're like, you know, but I have other people that are good with coaching the new people up to the certain level.
Exactly.
I always look at, okay, we're like Belichick, you know, like the football coach
Right.
or that teaches how to get Super Bowl rings. Like I'm not little league.
Right.
Like somebody else gets you up to where you're a professional.
Yeah.
Like, because if I give you the goods or you give somebody the goods and the information and then they don't do it, then what does it look like? It looks like your product's a failure.
Exactly.
And
That's why
I
I don't
can't
do
have
it.
my products
Nope.
look like a
And
failure.
I won't do that.
Because they're not a failure.
Right. Exactly.
Like they work every single time.
Right.
That's how, yeah, I'm so glad that you're protective of your
it's a test
material.
Is if I can't get a client a win or like help them get down, I mean, because they have to do the work too.
Right.
But if it's not leading to a testimonial video or something like that, then we got to break down here. And I already know from the red flag from the beginning. Like,
Right.
if they're 5 minutes late for the call I hear or something, I'm like, or is that's already a red flag? Or, they're asking too many questions and they're, looking to say guarantees and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, you don't believe in yourself.
Right.
And I can't help you until you do.
Right.
A little bit. You know what I mean? Like then I get the,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. So, okay, so you brought up this relationship thing.
How much time we got?
Let's talk
Okay.
about it. So what's going on in that department? Are we dating? Are we
We just definitely dating.
You're dating. But you were married.
I was married for a while, yeah.
How long?
About, I think total, it was 17 years we were together and 14 years we were married.
That's a
Or 12
long
12?
time.
It was a long time, yeah. Yeah, and so
was that one of the most painful things?
sure.
you went through?
No, that was
Okay.
That was definitely a pain. Yes, it was a painful moment, but not the most painful. But I'll try to give you the short version of the story. It's a good one. So I was just finished a bodybuilding competition, and
wow.
yeah, you work on the outside until you work on the inside, right?
Girl.
So I was very much into what can I do, triathlons. I mean, just like give me the challenge, let me take it, kind of thing. And so this was
I love it.
I mean, that's the truth, right?
Yes.
So 10 years ago, I went into this yoga studio. I just finished a competition, and my friend at the time, she had joined me because she saw what I was doing. And everybody, when they see what you're doing, they want to join. So they were doing some B-roll for her on TV, and I really loved the idea of being on TV. Yeah, so I'm like, sure, I'll go. I've done yoga twice, maybe. I'll go to this class, I go into the studio wearing the cutest yoga outfit, and I go to put my phone down. You're not supposed to bring your phone really into yoga,
dear,
but I have my
course,
phone.
But you did.
And 15 minutes in, she's doing like 150 dog downs. And at this point, I was really annoyed because I thought she was showing off for the camera. And I looked in, I was just like, I can't do this for another hour. This is like ridiculous. But being a competitive person that I am, I was going to win at yoga.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Right. So she's like, put one leg this way, put the other leg that way. And so as I follow orders, I did that. I grabbed the little quirky thing and I put it right in front of me. And my legs started trembling. And I was like, what's happening here? And it was like that feeling of
A release.
It was first the most excruciating pain I think I've ever felt. I started crying because the physical pain.
No.
And then it went to like emotional pain, and I felt like I left my body, and I just literally started crying and sobbing on this. I'll never forget this moment for the rest of my life.
On TV.
It was, well, we were filming, so it wasn't like live.
Okay, it wasn't live,
But yeah,
okay.
and I was sitting there in this position crying, and she's talking, and she's like talking about her life, your life, and how you know you're living, and I'm like, I was like, who's Shamina? I'm like, who am I anymore? Like, I had all of the financial things that, you know, I thought the success was at the time.
Lawyer.
I was a lawyer. My husband, he had a business. It was very successful. We'd go to Europe in the summertime, and we'd go to the Caribbean in the winter. You know, for us, we had our $1 million home, and, you know, we had our cars and
Did you
two
think you
beautiful
were in
kids. Oh yeah, I thought it was.
How many kids?
We had 2 kids, beautiful kids.
How old are your kids?
They were 4 and 5 at the time.
Okay.
And so
How old are they now?
18 and 16.
Mm.
And so that moment was a defining moment. I started ugly crying on this rug. I never got out of this position. It was the frog position. And when I got up, I realized like something in my life had to change. It was a defining moment of things in my life. So I'd come home. Next day, we ended up having a big long talk, and we decided it was right for him to move out, which was huge because this is the man that was my everything.
So y'all both knew something had
Yeah.
been out for,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, a long
time. We
at
became
this point.
roommates as opposed to a relationship.
Did
But
y'all have sleep in separate bedrooms?
he was sleeping with my daughter, and I was sleeping in my own. we were the power couple though. We were like always getting things done, but we just lost connection. And so what I realized,
Do you know why?
I know why. We brought our trauma into the relationship and no one got any help. No one got any work done. And what I realized after he moved out, I'm like, something in me I myself have not shown up for myself. I need to work on myself to figure out why this marriage failed and not go date other people, but just go within. And I did for many years, actually. After that, I went into something called monk mode. I started really going deep into like who I am and like just figuring out why did I make these choices in my life? I was so successful, but yet I was not happy.
Right.
Like there has to be something there. So after years and years of going through this process, I knew there was an event in my life when I was 16 years old, and I grew up in Canada, and my parents were married at the time. They're still married. Well, no, they're not anymore. But my father, I found out my dad was cheating on my mom when I was 16, and I ended up telling my dad. And
What'd you tell him?
I said, you better tell mom. I was on the phone at my grandma's
You
house.
found out
Yep.
before your mom did.
Yeah, and I said, you better tell mom.
How did you find out?
He was talking on the phone to a lady, and I could hear through those old, the rocker phones. I could hear them talking, and I knew something was up. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I knew he was doing something. It was dishonest. And so I told my dad on the phone. He went silent, and he didn't say anything to me. And I got home that night, and it was the worst night of my whole life.
That was the worst night of your whole life.
That was the worst night of my whole life. He proceeded to beat me.
What?
Oh,
Had he
yeah.
ever done that before?
A couple of times, yeah, before that, starting with 13, but never like this. And it was
He
to the
beat you up?
oh, I thought he was going to kill me. So he was,
Why? Because you said you knew and you better tell mom?
I guess, because I found out a secret. So he was
So
smashing
you
my
walked in the
face.
door.
I went upstairs, and I can't remember because a lot of it's blacked out. But I remember going down. But I ended up being in the kitchen, and then I ran away because he started beating me in the kitchen. I ran away to the living room, and it had this like pink fiber carpet. And I remember him being on top of me, and like my head was on the ground, and he was smashing my face broke both broke my nose. My eyes were black and blue. All the vessels in my face. Branded. And then finally I got this other phone, and I hit him, and he cut his face, and I got away. And I remember running to my neighbors, and I don't remember anything else. My brother told me it was Halloween. I don't remember.
So they probably thought you were dressed up.
Went to the doctor, and they were like, what accident? Like, what happened? And my mom begged me not to file police charges against my dad. But that was the start.
Didn't?
No, I didn't. That was the start.
So how did they believe? What did you tell them?
I just said I got in a car accident. And that's what I told them.
And did you tell your mom?
Oh, my mom knew. Yeah, she was in the house at the time.
No, obviously
yeah.
she knew about you being beat up. But did you say he beat you up because you found out he was cheating?
Oh, yeah. I told her the whole story.
And what did she say?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot for her to process. So my toxic relationship started back then with men. I have a 16-year-old now. I can't even imagine nothing but putting my arms around her, like her, protecting her. And, so that was my beginning stories and my blueprint for safety with men. And so there was no safety. So over the years, I had to relearn that. But I'm healed from that stuff now.
Yeah.
But it's just breaking a pattern of like knowing who you want. And when I see women with really successful men in their life, or they have a successful relationship, I'm like, she either did a lot of work on herself for her to be able to receive this type of relationship, or now she feels super safe with the masculine to invite someone in who's at her level. And so every time that I'm dating these guys, I'm realizing, nope, not you. Next, I'll raise my standards. And so now this is the process.
So when you say, nope, not you, what are they doing? What is the offense?
So
it's not like
so there's several things. Let's say, if a man doesn't wait for me to drive away and get in my car, he's a done. Like, that's for me. I'm like,
and so that's the mark. You don't feel like you would need to tell him, hey,
not for that one. No, I feel like a man should know that one.
Like, okay, but what if he wasn't raised by
a
mom that doesn't have manners?
All right.
But if you just said, hey, you know what, this would make me feel like you thought enough of me to love and care and protect me, and he was like, oh, and then I can provide that. I can provide what you need and want.
You're right. I will give you that. I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay, give me another one.
Okay. So
and I'm not defending him. I'm just asking.
This is so good for me because it's making me go, maybe you didn't see it that way.
Because men, you can create men too.
Okay, someone who is hasn't got his vision all clearly set out. I feel like he's got I was more interested in his potential as opposed to what he was actually doing with himself. And I feel like
Now, that's now.
yeah, well, this was just a little bit ago, another guy.
Okay.
And so because he was restarting a business, and which was great, but his focus, it seemed like I was more focused than he was. And so I want a man to also be a leader and like kind of have this drive where we could feed off of each other with that. And I just didn't know how long that was going to really rev up for this person, because it seemed like other things were more important as opposed to his vision work, Yeah.
This is just hypothetical because this is fun for me.
Yeah.
If you found this guy who was totally ethical,
This one wasn't.
okay, well, he's out, but
Yeah.
we're playing pretend.
Yeah.
He's totally ethical. He shares your core values. But he doesn't have the same strengths as you do. But he was like, I'm all in on the women empowerment mission and I support you so much. And in the relationship, I'm going to handle all of this behind the scenes stuff for you, with you, so that we can focus on you to build you up into this mega superstar, whatever you're making. Let's call it 5 million, 10 million, 2 million, whatever. And like, let's say you haven't been able to pass that surface. Like, do you have a cap?
No.
Is there like, what's the number you haven't exceeded past?
20 million. So,
good.
Okay.
Let's say you're like, okay, I haven't, but now the guy comes along. He's not the one, but he's like, look, I'm going to do all of this. This is the vision, because he's got the vision.
Yes. I'm going to say yes right now.
Yeah. And if he was like, if I do this, but you're going to go to 30, 40, 50
100,
million, you don't need him to be the driver. You get to be the star, but then you, quote unquote, have all the money.
This sounds so great. I'd like where do we find this?
Really?
I mean, that would be good.
Really? You don't think you would be judgmental? Like,
Of course I would. I would probably emasculate him probably a little bit, because I'd be like, what's your thing? Maybe. I don't know. It sounds great, but I mean, yeah, I want a man who's going to also bring something too, I guess.
Like, he's got to make money.
I mean, I would love that.
Yeah. I'm not knocking that.
I mean, but it sounds great what you just said.
Right.
I mean, but
I've seen that work, but it's
I think I would not have the same respect for a man if he wasn't doing the same. Like,
yeah, but if he was working like in the empire.
yeah, if he was working in
like, let's say he was a
Stedman or something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even
Does he
but
work?
even
I
more
don't
so,
know.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know that.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
but you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like a pillar. Let's call him. He was like the vice president of Shamina Enterprises.
I like that.
And he was like protecting you from, he was the gatekeeper. He was like, this is what you're doing. I mean, not telling you what to do, but like I'm saying business wise, you're going on this show, you're doing this, we're going here, you're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like this funnel here, we're going to get you licensees, we're going to da-da-da-da. You're doing it all, but he's like plotting and planning, like, that's working. But
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
actually.
all right, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you?
All right. 1,000,000%, I think.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
I
like
think I don't
feel like
know
I have
because
to feel into the energy to see like what would.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, would I be?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Pre-grant, I was always the one that made all the money.
Yeah, you said that. I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And I made all the money, but I had the attitude back then of I don't need a man for anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I also had the assumption that all men hold me back and all men cheat. So guess what?
Whoa.
All of them did that prior to Grant. And I think, talk about not being a victim, when I really had to do some introversion and look at things, I was like, how am I creating this situation? Otherwise, I'm a victim and I can't stop it.
Yeah.
But if I can look at how I'm creating the situation, I started looking at, well, if I give off the attitude, I don't need you for anything, who wants to be with that girl?
Yeah.
You don't need me for anything? Oh, I'm going to go be with the girl who makes me feel like I'm needed. Because who doesn't want to feel needed? Why are you in a relationship if you're not needed?
Yeah.
Why are you in a relationship if I'm going to run off and go do whatever I want to do with or without you because I am a strong, powerful woman? Hear me roar.
So how'd you move through those things? Like, just out of curiosity for me, like,
Okay.
So the cheating thing. So obviously there was a record, there's a track record.
I had never been with a guy who hadn't cheated.
Oh shit. Okay.
But I also never wanted to be in relationships.
So you picked emotionally unavailable men. Or men who weren't available? Like what was the...
One was a crystal meth addict.
Oh.
Which I didn't know.
Okay.
Which is crazy because I grew up in the drug world. That's how blind I went to love. And one just didn't make enough money. And, you know, he was my answer to the really bad world. And he was kind of like, so anyway.
But curious though, after you got through them, like what happened?
So this is what I did. Yeah. And it was the hardest thing. It was kind of like what I was asking you about the money. When did you take the leap?
Oh, okay.
So for me, what I did was I looked at, wow, I could actually be casting these guys to fulfill my rightness about how wrong they are. You understand? So whatever you have is what I'm saying. Whatever your considerations are about men, if you really want a man, right? Yeah. And then you got to think, do they cheat? You know, I can't find them. They're hard to find. They all mess up. Like whatever you got going on, you got to look at that and then figure out how to do the opposite of it. So I looked at, okay, all men hold me back. Obviously, that's not true.
No,
There's
right.
8 billion people on planet. All men, you know, cheat. Obviously, that's not true either. So I just kind of looked at the logic of that. And then I started saying, okay, well, can I be open to the possibility? And at the time, it sounded like a big fat no, but I just told myself, can I just be open to the possibility that a man can lift me up?
Ooh, I feel that
and be faithful?
Ooh.
And can a man help me reach heightened levels of success? Because before that, I always had that they hold me down.
Yeah.
Can that be possible? Can I be open to that possibility? And I always say, that's not real. That's not real. And I was like, Elena, 8 billion people, 7 billion people on planet Earth. I think I was saying 7 billion back then, 20 years ago. And I was like, 7 billion people on planet. Can you just be open to the possibility? Yes, I can be open to the possibility. And so then what I did was I made a list of everything that I wanted in a man. And because I never wanted to be in serious relationships, I never wanted to be married. I never thought I wanted to have kids because of that sitting there, like they're holding me back. Like, you know, who wants that? Like, I can't be with a guy like forever. Like that. How boring is that anyway? Right. I had all these ideas about that. And so when I wrote that down, I said, well, if this guy actually existed, I wrote over 100 items on the list. If this guy actually existed, could I be with one man for the rest of my life? And I looked at it and I was like, well, if he's all of that, then yeah, because what else would I need? Like, that is it.
I love this.
And I didn't think that this could really be possible. But then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to play this little game with myself for this guy, then I switched to a different piece of paper and I said, what would this guy, if he really existed, what would he write about his ideal woman? What would she look like? So I wrote it down. And I had on there, well, she wouldn't like be in bars drinking excessive alcohol, which I was doing at the time. I was in my 20s. Well, she would want a family because this guy would want a family because this is a different kind of guy than I had ever been with. He would want a family. He would want monogamy. He would have, you know, so I wrote like, and he would want a woman who would take care of herself, who kept herself in shape, you know, who had self-value, who thought a lot of herself. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, and she could be faithful. Like I just wrote, and she would want to cook me a meal because like I resented that, you know, but I thought that is what, like, I tried to put myself in the ideal guy, what he would want. And I looked at the list and I realized that was not me.
Wow.
I was like, I'm never going to attract this guy, even though all my girlfriends were like, you deserve to have whatever you want. And they were like, oh, wish it and it'll show up. And then I said, no, I got to get to work on myself. The irony of that is, as soon as I wrote those lists, I met Grant. I met him on a commercial. I wanted nothing to do with him.
You said that.
Because out of over 100 items on the list, the first 2 items were 6'2" and green eyes. And he was not 6'2" and he didn't have green eyes. But he was every single other. I still have the list.
Okay.
And so then I met him. I wanted nothing to do with him. He calls me. And I had this one phone call with him. And I was like, oh my God, this guy is so arrogant. Like I just like loathe the guy. So for the next 13 months, he called me twice a month and left a voice message on my answering machine twice a month, every month for 13 months with no return phone call. But what's interesting is in the 13 months, I started working on myself. I stopped doing like drinking excessive alcohol. I stopped going to the clubs. I stopped dating like just, random guys. I did self-enhancement communication course. I did how to overcome ups and downs in life, formulas for living. I did all these self-enhancement courses. I started changing my mindset and attitude. And 13 months later, then, the rest is history. Like we became friends and blah, 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 blah. And then more than that. And that's the story of how I took the first step. But
you're right though.
What are you thinking right now?
Well, I guess some things click in the sense of like why I'm attracting certain people still and what I need to probably rewire in myself about that, the belief about it. I also feel like the last guy was 6'3", and he was like, I was like, finally a tall one. I'm like, was waiting for one of these ones. But then, nope, you got to go. But maybe it's not about the things that I think it's about. Maybe it's just about the things he's going to make me feel, or how I'm going to feel with him, and the things that are getting clarity around it, like real clarity. You were really clear about it. And so it made me realize and I also feel like you just kept raising your standards. Like you didn't let him for 13 months, he kept pursuing you. And so I
couldn't even see him.
Right. You were saying no because you couldn't see him, right?
I couldn't see him.
But you got into a state where your consciousness was aware of him there and you couldn't unsee him anymore. And
that's right.
And I feel like that's once you get to that state, I think you worked on yourself to raise your standards so up to what Elena deserves and what it should have in her life instead of the toxic guys that were coming in. And I feel
couldn't even see a good guy when he was in front of my face.
Yeah, and I feel like that's me right now. Like maybe they have come through, and maybe I haven't seen them, and maybe I've been looking at the wrong ones because of the lens that I've been wearing, and maybe it's time to change it. So yeah, I feel like there is room for always growth because if I don't have the thing that I want, it's always me. Mm-hmm. It's always me. If I look at my life and there's something that I desire and I don't have it, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to be? And for me to have this thing, because I know it's attainable, but I'm in the way. So whatever it is, I know I've got to work on this some more because it's a me thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it always is.
Always is.
It always is because we're not victims.
No.
Because if we're victims, we can never change the
circumstance. That's right. But now I have the power. If I know I can change it, then I'm going to change it.
That's right.
Right. So
you're going to be so good at this. Oh my God. You have to let me know the minute you find this dude.
Well, it's so crazy that I'm on here right now because literally, like, I was talking to another mentor and she was like, all right, we know, because we're processing this last guy. And she's like, listen, I feel like this is the end of it now. We're not, there's no more men like this. She's like, you were like, you check so many boxes and, and just talking to her, I was like, yeah, we just have to be better at the picker and like realize that I'm not auditioning for a man to come in my life. Like, it's more of like, who are you coming into my life instead of like, look at me, like I'm so amazing over here. It's like the wrong energy maybe that I've been in, or proving like, well, look how great and amazing I am. Most men don't really care about the success. They want to know how they can make, like how you make them feel.
Right.
And so it's more of this awareness that I've realized, and yes, they want a successful woman. Yes, given. Right. But a high value man, it's like, how can I be service to you? How can I help you? And, I do need a man. And maybe I haven't been admitting that, like, or I do desire someone to come in to protect and provide. And it would be so nice. I love that. What if the possibility that he does exist, or this person? So there's shifts that I can do that I can start, because I have so much in my life. My life is rich and full, and a partnership would just be like the best thing to take me to that next level, and him too, or just to have that. Because at the end of the day, on our deathbed, it's the relationships that we have, and the success is always there. But like having someone to share that success with, to me, is like, of course, I desire that,
Yeah, and the high value success guy that's making his money, and who if that's the guy that comes in. And he has that provider mentality, he's gonna respect and help you with your goals by assisting and supporting you, but that's not gonna be his qualifier.
No.
For him, like, what do you think he would want when he comes home, like after a hard day's work and pushing and making money.
Support too.
Support and like
nurturing,
fun.
Yeah.
Like happy,
Like here
fun.
it is. What would you like? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
One of the biggest things my ex-husband said to me, he goes, that I really wish you would improved on, because this was old me, was like, you just didn't give me a minute when I came home from my day to just ask me how my day was. He just wanted that moment to be like, you know, or just give me that special time afterwards. And I remember that comment, because I really feel like that was important. That was him saying, like, I just want to be seen when I come home, you know, like just for a couple of minutes by the woman I love. And so I feel like that would be, I would do things so much differently now. Yeah.
And they want to feel like anybody, wanted, and like they're a
seen.
Superhero and appreciated. Like
appreciated, it's the biggest thing.
You know, it was shocking, because another little secret is Grant and I, and we've done this at various points in our relationship, because it kind of changes. I mean, not the non-negotiables like monogamy, not that never changes, but we would do a list called wants and needs, like what do you want and need. And I remember when he was like, well, yeah, I want this or that, and it was kind of these things that never really occurred to me, but until somebody tells it to you, you're like, oh wait, that's easy, that's a deliverable I can produce for you.
Know, that'd be so great.
You know what I mean? But sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and then you expect somebody to know when they don't know. That's why I asked you earlier.
Did I ask? Yeah, I think the thing that blocks me the most from asking was that I never wanted to feel needy. That was a big thing, because that would make me vulnerable.
I know.
So I still have to work on that.
Yeah.
And it's something I have to work, but it's really helped in my business to receive support and ask for support and to delegate. And I think that in relationships, it's a place that I'm still working on, of letting someone in to see that vulnerability of me, like, because I've been a single mom for so many years, and I've been doing everything on my own, you know.
Did the kids see the dad?
They do here and there, yeah.
Okay,
he works a lot, and as much as they can lately, but you know, they're working on a better relationship right now. He's a good man. He just is going through some things in his life. So, but I've been doing most of it in the last 5 years with them, and you know, it's I don't know what it feels like to have support, and so at home. But I do know in my business, which was a game changer, by the way, in my business, having support. Without that, it was a complete game changer. To have it, to instill it, to know when to hire it, it was game changer. And so now it's like, well, what would it feel like if someone came in and said, hey, sit down, like my ex-husband used to do this, sit down, let me go get that for you, or like, what would you like, or let me. And so for me, that's the adaptive period of knowing that possibly that's out there, and it's okay for me to receive that help. You know, it's okay to be taken care of. It's okay to just take my cape off and be like, I don't need to be the powerhouse right now. I just need to be someone cuddled up in someone's arms to say, baby, it's just going to be okay, and I've got you. Like, that's a moment I live for, you know, just to know someone who's just holding me when, you know, I'm just feeling this moment I need to be held, you know. That to me that's going to be everything.
That is going to be everything.
Yeah, just have that moment. And I feel a lot of women who even are in partnerships don't let their husbands come in to do that for them. And that's what I feel all of us need to just let someone in and come and love us and give us, you know, just let us be seen fully in that softness, because it's a place that I think we'll be so connected to ourselves more. Yeah, working on it.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, super great. And I love this conversation. And
you know so much. I mean, I'm going to be like asking you a lot of questions now. Like, you really have this down packed, though. I mean, I know you teach about relationships and stuff, but you really have it down packed about the connection piece with, you know, being in your power and being a woman who's like, for example, if I go see another guy, I'm going to do, would Elena do this? Like, people say, well, Shamina do this when it comes to money. But I'll be like, well, Elena, would this be okay for like a relationship? Would this be okay? You know, like, I have to put my standards, I keep pushing them to a higher level.
What are your standards?
So this is a great question, because I feel like they need improvement. Because if I see a red flag in the beginning, which I do many times, I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's not such a bad thing, but it is always still a red flag. So it's me against me half the time. So if I just sat there and I looked at the red flag and I realized this is a non-negotiable of something, whatever it is, you know, if he's whatever, you know, there's some things I've let go of a little bit, but if there's something there that's, you know, an age thing, I mean, sometimes they're too young. I look very young, so I attract a lot of youngins that are successful, but I'm like, baby, you still gotta have babies and get married and do things. I'm like, so that's non-negotiable. Like, I mean, I can't date men that are a certain age, you know?
Right.
And then men who don't work out. Like, I just, you know, if someone's not taking care of their body, then I just feel like they're probably not taking care of a lot of things in their lives.
True.
You know, so there's things that I've made allotment with, like, or, oh, but he's so smart, or, you know, he's this, but yet you saw he wasn't doing the other thing. So, you know, he's not doing his inner work if he's not taking care of his body, you know? So I made that mistake once and never made it again. But I mean, those are the things when I've seen them, like, I'm just using very light examples, but there's deeper ones, trust me, like where I was like, no, this guy's seeking validation from something and he's insecure maybe, and he's acting like he's macho and he's secure, you know, the alpha man, but really he's not, you know, and
You make sense of red flags sometimes?
yeah,
Justify
them. And I think I negotiate them. Mm-hmm. But if I didn't and I held in a higher standard, I'm like, nope, that's not it. But
so
thank you so much.
Red flags would be not taking care of your body.
Yeah, just...
What about excessive alcohol?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, drugs?
Yeah, that's can't even happen. No smoking, no drugs. Like that's a no-go if a man who doesn't take care of his body, you know? Mm-hmm. But I also feel like if you're still, this has been the biggest one for me. His divorce is not final.
Because, okay.
Or they've been divorced for like a couple of years, but it hasn't been wrapped up. I'm like, at what point is this like, why we haven't done this yet? Right. So but there's a lot of men.
How long did it take you to get your divorce?
It was 2 years, but I never dated anybody during that time period.
Okay.
I was working on myself. So I was probably a unicorn, you know, but because most people do, but I didn't. But I just do feel like there's something in me that's still attracting that, like if they're still tied up. So where am I totally, fully open to the receivership of someone who's open and free to give to me? So that's the thing I have to work on.
I love that.
Yeah. So you were like, nope, I'm going to work on me. He was already waiting for you. So maybe my guy's around the corner waiting for me, just like, okay, you're gonna finish up with this little thing you're doing here now so that I can come into the show right now? Because I know he's going to pop in like that the moment that I'm just like, and I feel like it's happening right now, even being on the show right now, Elena, like the stuff that's happened like this last week, the timeline of this is insane. It's insane. Even this conversation right now, because it's like,
do you remember how fast when you opened your money flow?
Yeah, yes. Right. And the love flow is going to come in here. The man flow.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't
I'm having this click right now.
Lag.
Yeah.
Like it seems like you're more of a fast cycle person.
Right. This awareness that just hit me right now though, it's like, of course. I hope other women who are listening to this conversation, there's something in you that's maybe holding it back or keeping this resistance. And imagine if you moved it, how fast other things would come in, because it's happening. Like there's things that I think that we negotiate too much. If I held a high standard and boundaries with certain people, and because I didn't have them growing up, I didn't have that, but I have to reparent myself now to like, okay, you need to be a big girl now about this. This is the grown woman. What do you want? So now that I'm doing that more and more, the selection of people that are coming in, it's always better than the last. So it's been really great. It's been like an ascension up.
Evolution.
And I can see the evolution of it because I'm evolving. And because I'm evolving, the quality of men that are coming to me is also evolving too. So I'm almost right there of what is possible, you know? Which is really cool to see, because I'm like a data collection lady. Like I'm like, if this is working, we'll do this. This is working, and I'm seeing the evidence of it. So the more I did this with money, the more that I kept people who were, I don't like using this word, but broke or had a negative or scarcity mindset away from me, my wealth grew. That included clients, included friendships, included everybody, because I live in the frequency of money. So I'm sitting here with a billionaire. So you know what I mean? Like, hello. So you know, it's like you know, who are you in the room with?
Good.
So if I do this with men and be like, you can't even, I don't care if you have a Maserati and a whatever and a ghost and all these things and cars, and it doesn't really matter because they like to flaunt those little things sometimes in my way. And when you have money as a woman, it's like, whatever, dude, I can go buy my own stuff, you know? But now I'm going to be like, nope, not you, because I'll know right away, like just from the things and the conversations. So I won't be negotiating anymore. I know this is going to happen so quickly. I know it will. I just feel it. I have this conviction about it right now that I didn't have before.
I freaking love this.
Yeah, isn't it great?
Man, I feel like we've had this transformational interview today.
I know. Because money and men are so similar. Yeah. And my girlfriend, Wendy, she was saying to me, Wendy's like, Shamina, just apply it to like what you do with money, apply it to men. Because I go, men are all over. They're everywhere. It's just the right ones that I want to have to come in. Because, when you have your shit together, it's just men come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like all
and
over.
it's as easy as the right women that you attract.
Exactly.
That was easy. That was a no-brainer.
It was a no-brainer.
It was a no-brainer.
No-brainer. Like I have millionaire, multi-millionaire women in my group, women who are action takers. Like these are successful businesswomen. And people are like, well, how do you sell high ticket? I'm like, no. It's not about selling high ticket. It's about who are you being to attract a woman who's ready to invest in a high ticket or with you. It's your client's results that are going to have someone come in because I'm living myself at a higher level, knowing that I can give a result. So that's raising up the frequency of the women that are coming into my space. So I just have to do that because I'm not working with clients that are here anymore. Like it won't, so I raised my standards. I held a boundary. Anybody who's going to be codependent with me, like and wanting me to be responsible for their results, bye. So I literally had to clean that out. And now I'm going to do this with men. And I've been doing it with men. And it's literally going to happen really fast because I got to hold the standard.
I can't wait to get that phone. You better text me.
I'm gonna. Yeah, it's going to happen fast though. I know it.
Oh, I know it too.
I already feel it. Like it's like this.
You'll be able to see it.
I know. And
You know?
I bet he's just been sitting there the whole time. Maybe I haven't seen him, or maybe he's going to come into the space. Yeah, I really feel like this is great.
Oh my God. If it's somebody that already exists in your life.
I know. Isn't that going to be crazy?
That's going to be really crazy.
I know. Then I'll be like, guess what?
Oh my God. That would be so wild.
Like this, I actually feel excited about this. So you said, what if the possibility that,
I said, I became open to the possibility that a man could lift me to heighten levels of success and be monogamous.
Yes, and being monogamous.
Be open to the possibility that we could go to heightened levels of success. That he would help me. See, because it wasn't until 4 months into the marriage, right? 4 years into the marriage. I thought, I'm getting married because we're in love and we're going to be monogamous. And I didn't really understand what is the relationship. The word relationship means how are you relative? What concepts do you share? What is the purpose of the relationship? Like, what is the purpose? Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, right.
What is the purpose of a relationship? Like, because I really analyzed this and then I'll tell you where I came up with. But I was like, what is the purpose? Like, it's to be happy? Wait a minute. Like, now I'm depending on somebody else to make me happy?
Right.
Like, how evil is that? Like, he's got to come home and make me happy or he sucks? Like, because you're never going to do that. Like, you have to make yourself happy and then you can really enjoy the other person's company, because otherwise they can try to make you happy, but when you're not happy with yourself because you're not doing the inner work, even if he did the thing that you wanted the most, looked back at you and made sure you got into the car okay, he could do all of that, but he'll do this other 10 other things wrong because you're not happy. So I was like, well, so that's not the purpose, because he can't make me happy because nobody other than me can make me happy.
Right.
So what is the purpose?
Yeah.
So for me, I thought, well, the greatest act of love that you can give somebody is helping them achieve their goals and their dreams.
Ooh.
Because when is a person the happiest?
Yeah, true.
When they're achieving their goals and their dreams, don't you feel good
Yeah.
and energized? And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Like when he's helping me achieve my goals and my dreams.
Nothing beats that feeling.
Nothing. I want to fortify with him.
Yeah.
I fall more in love. That's why we have to have wins in our relationship.
Yeah, always.
People are like, why are y'all so successful? Yeah, communication, but that's not my answer. I'm like, we help each other achieve our goals and our dreams. And when I help him, like, he freaking loves me even more.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're picking and when you're seeing the guy, find out what is the purpose? Like, what is his goals and his dreams? Is that something you could support him in?
Yes,
Let him know your goals and your dreams. Is that something he can support you in?
Yeah.
And then when y'all kind of get serious in the thing, who are you as a couple?
Yeah.
Who are you? Where are y'all going together? Not just you doing your thing and him doing his thing, but who are you as a unit? How do you use this to fuel y'all as more power together than individually? And then you're going to be looking at relationships in a whole nother way. Can this guy get you to heightened levels of success?
And that's really what I do desire. So I love that because, and I feel like there's something with that I still have to connect still. Like, are you ready for that next level of success? Because maybe there's something there. Like, are you going to play all out right now? Because if you are, he's going to show up and help you. I mean, for you, did you know that Grant existed, or you just thought that maybe a Grant, not him particularly, but did you think the man existed?
No.
Right. So
it was very hard for me. I had to tell myself that over and over.
Right.
I did not think that man existed because I had never known that man.
Right.
Every single guy was like, because I really made myself right that men hold me back.
Yeah.
And I could give you time, place, form, and event over and over and over again. I made myself really right that men hold you back. Me back.
And the best way you got rid of that belief was?
I just said, be open to the possibility.
That's it. Right here. Just open to the, so that's so all of us that have this belief, because if we don't have the thing yet, the man yet, there's probably a belief there. Just be open to, every time I say it, my heart just opens with that.
Just
be open to the possibility. Yeah. I mean, that's just the shift. Like, be open. That creates the opening of the possibility of something going in or something great going in. I mean, why not, I mean, I was open to more money. I'm always open to more money. I'm like, what is a possibility of like 100 million? What's the possibility of that? I mean, people are like, well, you don't need it. I'm like, I never need any of it. I go, it's not a need thing. I mean, but how many people would I serve at that level? I mean, that's like millions and millions of people I would touch at that level. You know what I mean? I always feel like it's a great idea to have the money desire, but also like, how many people I need to get more in front of more people. And then that's the shift and change, like.
And the money always comes on its own. And the more you have to do in order to break the glass ceiling for everyone below you trying to get it. So you have to do it in order to raise the lid for everybody else.
Absolutely.
So you have to. It's an obligation.
It's
like Grant says, success is your duty, obligation, and responsibility.
Yeah.
Because you lift more people the more you do. Oh my God, I love you.
I actually put in my book, I brought a copy of my book for you, but I put, thank you for going first.
Aww.
Because you raised the limit for the ceiling for us, because you went first and you showed us what's possible. So that's kind of great how we're so connected. I love this. But that was just like so cool that you did that.
Oh man. I love this.
Yeah.
I love you. I love our collaboration.
Yes.
I love women empowerment.
Definitely.
I love what you're doing. Anything I can ever do to help and support you, reach out, let me know, because
Same.
I love what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people.
Every time I talk about you, my clients go buy from you. It's the craziest thing. Yeah, I don't have affiliate with you, but I mean, because I don't need it, because I've been at that time, maybe later on I will. But yeah, they do go buy from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Well, they love
support.
you too. Well, of course, if someone's going to love you, they're going to love me too, I hope.
Yeah. Very similar mindsets.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Being a mom is my number one thing in the whole world, which we didn't touch about today. We don't have time, but that to me is the thing that fuels everything I do. Everything I do.
Especially from what you went through as a child yourself.
My kids are amazing. Amazing.
It's challenging though, right?
Yeah.
From time to time.
Well, they're teenagers, of course.
And I feel like I'm in a moment right now where I'm winning, but I'm like, I'm on like, I feel like I'm on sketch territory.
But your kids are so smart. My kids are really smart. So they're upping your game because of their leadership, because of who you're raising. So you're not raising just regular children. So of course they're going to challenge you to become the best version of mom you can be.
Oh my God, they do. And
Right.
I interviewed Sabrina today.
Oh, you did?
She was my 4th episode.
Oh wow.
I interviewed her and I told her that.
She's a little powerhouse.
She's a powerhouse. She's a powerhouse. Oh my God, wait till you hear this interview with her.
Okay.
She's incredible.
Okay, well
But
then
I
maybe
told her.
she'll win because it is her daughter. Okay.
I know I'm a little biased, right?
Everybody should
I
just
don't
vote for that
know.
one.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
running a tight, second for sure. But but she was. I told her. I said, you've really pushed me to challenge myself to be
course.
a better person, a better mom. I'm always learning. It's just
Constant.
Momhood is so wild. I was talking to my childhood friend. We met when we were 10 years old.
Oh wow.
And we've been friends this whole entire
See,
time.
that speaks volumes of who you are as a person. That's amazing.
And thank you. And we were talking, and it's just so wild because we're here now with kids.
Yeah.
And we were just kids, it feels like.
Right.
And now it's like we're in a different role. That's so bizarre.
Yeah. And well, now you're being leaders doing your thing right now.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's a little whip too. Like I saw her selling at my event and she was just moving product, talking to people, running the show. And I'm like, she got on stage and she goes, I want to do what my mom does, but I want to reach millions of women. And I didn't even know that was a dream of hers. And it was just like, she just took over and just took the mic. And it's just, they watch what you do. And so always looking at what you do and not what you say. My kids constantly looking at what I do. And when they see mom doing it, before I got on stage when I had my event, I'll tell you this last little thing, the two of them ran to the back of the room into the like little, green room that we had. And they're like, Mom, this is the coolest thing. Like, look at all these people came here to see you. I can't believe you're doing this. This is like so amazing. Well, they're like, I can't believe it, because they watched the last 10 years of me literally rebuild my life from nothing to this. Wow. And so for my kids to see what's possible, we weren't the praying type in the moment there, but we were definitely like the, let's talk about and cuddled and like we hugged and we had this moment together of like, we did it. It wasn't just team. I did it. It was team, because they came together for me in all the different ways that I had to like need that help, to come along. Maybe I needed them to make dinner for themselves one day, or maybe I needed them to step up. I don't raise kids that I have to wake up in the morning. They do their own thing because they're
mine too.
Yeah, because I'm not that mom. I'm like, you're going to learn how to do stuff right now. So, but it was a really cool moment that my kids got to celebrate with me, and I want to have bigger moments like that for them so that they can see what's possible in their life, and you're doing that for your kids. I can only imagine what Sabrina's going to do in this world, It's just like that to me is legacy, and my kids are my legacy. And I just know that imprint, and also the women that I'm leading, but that imprint right there is my success already right now.
Yeah, for sure. That's our legacy.
Yeah.
Right? Because that lives on after we pass on.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah.
Well, it has been amazing. I won't take you any longer from your children, since you did come
flew in today.
Just flew in today. And I was like, you have to come on the show. And she left her kids to come here. So
Elena literally like scheduled this in 6 minutes. Like I was telling my team, like, could you see how fast? And I was like, this is money and speed, because she literally like she connected to me to her assistants. I connected her my assistants, and it was literally booked and scheduled in 6 minutes. And so when I saw that kind of action, I'm like, how many of y'all are just sitting on your butts right now and not taking the action? Because this woman who's a billionaire moved that fast. So you need to start moving a little faster. Like,
speed is power. Speed is power.
So every time
man.
I'm thinking, if there's a moment that I'm going to think of something, I'm like, nope, just move.
Just move. Speed is power. Yeah. Speed is
power. If there's a mistake, we'll figure it out. Just move.
That's right.
Yeah.
Always be moving forward. Yeah. Like boom, 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 boom. It like creates the momentum.
But I saw that, and my team was like, I'm like, did you see you saw how she just did that, right? And they're like, because I had to give you props, because I'm like, we need to move a little faster. That was it. And they're like, we already moved fast. I'm like, no, there's a higher speed. There's a speed up. There's a couple speeds up.
There's a nitro speed.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, we're going to be on that soon. I'm like, go first. Go first. I can follow.
It's thank you. And it's so cool because my team really rises to the occasion.
They do.
When it's a lot.
Yeah. I told my team too, I want you to do like I have an Erica too, like, a Sash, my team, and she's just on it. And so when you have someone supporting you like that,
it's so cool.
It is the best thing, because then you can rise to your own powerful place. And she loves to support me. Right. Yeah.
Because I know what a difference.
Exactly.
And they're contributing to that, because I and you could not do that without them. It's team.
They're part of the movement.
It's collaboration.
Exactly.
I know. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the Elena Cardone show today. You have just been phenomenal with your wealth of information. I picked that word wisely.
I know, you're really good at that one.
You see how I did that? And I loved our conversation, and you have to update us on the man front, because us ladies all want to know.
Yes, I will. Okay, I will.
Deal.
Thank you. Right. Thank you for having me on here today.
Of course.
Should I tell people how to reach me? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so go look me up on Instagram, Shamina Taylor. I have a new book that came out, Unlocking the Quantum Woman. Go get it. It's going to be a game changer. And just come find me on social media, and we'll connect, or listen to my podcast, The Quantum Woman. You will love it. So.
Oh
yeah, Elena's on there. You'll hear her.
I'm there. I'm already there.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, you know what to do, ladies. Go follow Shamina right now and sign up for her podcast and get the book. See you next time.